Hey guys, it's Miss Clenard. I miss y'all so much. Today what we're going to do is go over a review on 1-point perspective, and I'm going to talk to you guys about 2-point perspective and what the difference is, and then you're going to follow along with me in your sketchbook to draw some shapes in 2-point perspective. So the last lesson was 1-point perspective, and you guys looked at first squares and then drawing a little city scene. So a refresher for 1-point perspective, the idea is that you are looking straight forward on a building. So there's one side that's facing you, and everything that's facing you is drawn just a straightforward way. And then everything that is showing depth or moving away or towards you is going to be skewed to one vanishing point. And 1-point perspective is called 1 point because everything goes to just 1 point here. The same thing would happen if you were standing in a hallway and you were facing the back wall of the hallway. Everything will look like it is pointing to one little spot in the background that we call the vanishing point. So all the lines, like the tops of the lockers and the light, the floor, it all points to 1 point in the horizon called the vanishing point. So when we talk about 2-point perspective, we are looking at depth that goes to 2 different points. So the difference in your perspective is with 1 point, you're going to be looking flat at a building that's facing you, and the side of the building that shows depth is going to move to 1 point. In 2-point perspective, instead of standing at the front of the building, you're actually standing at the corner of the building. So one side will appear to go to one perspective while the other side goes to the other perspective. So if you're at the corner, the left side of the building goes to a left vanishing point and the right side of the building goes to the right vanishing point. And then whatever details like sidewalk or any like architectural features will go to the side that they belong to. Same idea if you're in a hallway. Where 1-point perspective, we're facing the back wall of the hallway. In 2-point perspective, we're going to be at the corner of a hall. So it would be like the corner of the wall, and we would see a hallway going off in both directions, where each sides would point to their vanishing points. So today we're going to, in your sketchbooks, you're going to follow along with me. And I'm going to draw some simple shapes in 2-point perspective. I have a pencil, an eraser, and I don't have a ruler, but I have this piece of wood. It has a straight edge. So you don't have to have a ruler, just anything with a straight edge. If it's like a book or, you know, piece of wood or something, that's good enough. So when we did 1-point perspective, you guys remember that we started off with a horizon line, which is just a line that goes across your page. It can be in the middle of the page, it can be towards the top, towards the bottom, but the horizon line is what is going to set the viewer's eye level. So if their eye level is very low, then everything is going to look like it's really big. And if their eye level is really high, then everything is going to look really small. So I'm just going to put my eye level, my horizon point, like kind of towards the middle. And so we're going to be doing 2-point perspective today. So I'm going to put 2 vanishing points on my horizon line. So the vanishing points are just where everything looks like it's going to like disappear to. So when we did 1-point perspective, we started off with like the front of the building, and then the depth would go to the vanishing point. When we're doing 2-point perspective, we're going to start with the side of the shape or side of the building. So I'm just going to draw a vertical line, however long you want it to be. This is going to determine like how tall your building is. And from the height of my building, I'm going to have a a roof and a ground, and those are both going to point to my vanishing points. So what I have to do is make sure that part of my straight edge is on the dot and part of it is at the height. I'm going to draw this really lightly. And then I'm going to swing over to the bottom and draw this really lightly. So this now would be what the left side of my building would look like. And then from here I can decide like how far I want that building to go. But since it starts off as a vertical line, it's going to end as a vertical line. So however deep you want the building to go, draw that as a vertical line also. And I'm just going to go and darken these lines because now I know how I want them to be. And then I'm going to draw the right side of my building. Same idea, I'm going to go to my roof line and force it to touch that vanishing point. And go to my ground line and force it to touch the vanishing point. And then I can decide what depth I want that to be. If I start with a vertical line, then it needs to end with a vertical line at whatever depth I want. Go over this. And then I'm just going to erase the lines that don't really matter. Like I can't see that horizon line behind that building because it's opaque. I can't see through it. Kind of messed up over here. Okay. So now we're just looking at a corner of a box or corner of a building. And then any details that we want to put into this building, any lines that are meant to be vertical lines are always going to be vertical lines. That's never going to change. But any lines that are supposed to be horizontal will point to the appropriate vanishing point. So like if I want to have a door right here, if my door is, let's say it's right here. The sides of my door are going to stay vertical, but the top and the bottom are going to point to the vanishing point. So it'll be a slight angle there. If I want to have a window, let's say I'll put some windows here. I'll just do what the sides of my windows would look like. Just vertical lines, put 2 here. And then I'll match my vanishing point to swing it up, boop, boop. Then I've got 2 little windows. Okay, on the left side, so we have our little windows in our door. Sorry, on the right side, we're gonna start to get a little bit tricky. So what I wanna do now is draw a balcony. So I want the balcony, it's gonna have to have like some thickness because it can't be just flat up against this wall. It needs to come out a little bit. So if you're imagining like the balcony is sticking out of this wall here, then the side of the balcony that gives the thickness would be parallel to what this left side is doing, right? Or if like you're looking at where the corner of your balcony would be. Let's start with that. So I'll say like this is going to be how tall my balcony is going to be. That's going to be the corner of that balcony. So anything on the left side of that balcony is going to point here, and anything on the right side is going to point here. So if that's the corner of my balcony, we'll just make that however thick I think it should be. Since it starts with a vertical line, it'll end with a vertical line. And then starts with a vertical line, ends with a vertical line. I'm gonna get rid of these extra little marks I made. So now this like part that sticks out and gives it some depth is parallel to this wall. And then the part that is like flat against this is parallel to this wall. So everything to the corner of this balcony goes to the right. Everything on this corner goes to the left. You can give it little details, do whatever. Maybe give it some little supports. Can't just be a floating balcony. All right, so I want to see you guys doing this in your sketchbook. If you have any questions, email me, send a comment. I miss you guys.